All right, so Friday, we wanted to get merch. Our plan was to do it on Thursday, but when we got there, the line was crazy. So Friday, we got up kind of early, and ran right in the door, went right over to merch, and we still waited like an hour. It was ridiculous. But I ended up getting the shirts I wanted. I got the all-shell pair shirt that I've been trying to track down, even though I'd ruin it later on in the weekend. Yeah, I got a nice motionless shirt that's only got the two festival dates on the back. Chimera shirt that only had the Daytona date on it. Yeah, you got that shirt as well.
I got that one too.
So, yeah, we were waiting over there. Unfortunately, because it took so long, we missed the vast majority of Left to Suffer, which is where I'm pretty sure you were.
That's where we started. Yeah, I mean, after
at the Vortex stage. So
we had some regrets after last year because we slept in so many of the days and missed bands.
I noticed you guys were pretty much up every morning for right at the beginning. So
we were, and that's because there were bands that we really wanted to see, and we didn't want to miss them.
It was probably also kind of hard to sleep in when me and Tina's just up at like 5 o'clock in the morning stomping around upstairs. You know what I mean?
I never heard it, but Amy probably did. Amy's more times than not is my alarm clock.
Yeah, we tried to be quiet, but we were.
She usually wakes me up before the actual alarm, so.
But Left to Suffer.
Left to Suffer was a must for me because, they made one of my favorite albums of last year. They only played 2 songs off of that album because they don't do a lot of the singy stuff live.
Okay.
But the stuff they played just went over so well. I think that Taylor Barber is definitely one of the best deathcore vocalists I've seen live. Mm-hmm. He makes it look very effortless. He's a big old boy. Like, he's the size of the guy from Filth, probably.
Yeah, he's yeah.
It was great, and I feel like the energy was electric, if you will. The band was shocked because it wasn't a huge crowd, but for 12 or 12:30 in the afternoon, whatever it was
12:30.
It was a big turnout.
Yeah,
and I think the band was surprised by that. But everybody fed off each other. It was a good time. It lived up to my expectations, other than the fact that I wanted to hear some of the sing-along ding-dong stuff,
Yeah. Next up was right next door to Inferno, Bleed From Within. Like, we just reviewed this album. I was super excited about this, and these guys fucking delivered. I mean,
yeah.
What do you say?
This
wasn't a massive. It was a good turnout. Like, we haven't mentioned that either. I think the beginning of the days were busier, like every day, than I remember it being last year. I mean, you weren't there, but like, it was busy from the gate drop every day. So.
I think it's a testament to the lineup that they put together this year,
for sure.
Because there was just so many things that were just, I can't miss this. And Bleed From Within. So this was my second time seeing them. I saw them at Heart Support Fest.
I missed them at that.
I think you may have been watching something else. I don't remember, but killer band, perfect execution, just amazing.
Scottish metalcore.
If I had one complaint, it was just that the first time I saw them, they did bring out the bagpipes and play live.
Yeah.
But
he got down in the crowd.
In lieu of that, this time they used the bagpipes on a track, and he got down in the crowd.
Yeah.
And I think that was more important at a festival like this, because I think that really, it's a big deal. The fans eat that stuff up.
I have a video of that on the Spider Instagram. If you want to check it out.
But you want to talk about a tight live band, yeah.
They're good. Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
Next up from there, we made probably the biggest mistake of the weekend. And we went over to the Apex stage for the first time this weekend, which is the main stage, to go check out Lit. And they were fucking horrible. Like, really bad.
You didn't like Lit?
We stayed for like 2 songs, and they were really fucking bad. So we left. Well, then we still continued to hear them because we were in the area over by VIP. So we heard the majority of the set. I think we grabbed food or something. Bad. Like, definitely the worst performance of the weekend. It reminded me of last year when we seen that one stupid band at Apex that I walked out on. It was terrible too. I mean, I don't remember their names right now, but it was one of the worst performances I've seen all of last year. This one was right up there with it. So
there's one to me that was worse, but we'll get to that later.
Like, and it wasn't just the vocals. The band sounded bad. Like, everything about it sounded bad. The vocals were terrible though.
So we saw some of Lit but we didn't see it like you did. This was our first venture into the Grandstand's hideout. Okay. So they have one little spot at the track that they opened up where you can go up into the Grandstands. They have some regular bathrooms open. They have a bar, one very basic bar up there, but it's an area where you can relax. And they have a couple of little TVs where they show the show. And we seen Lit on there. I didn't think it was terrible, but we weren't paying attention.
Yeah,
I was up
fair.
there with Kevin, Casey, and Ross, and Dennis, and we were all chit-chatting and stuff. We weren't really paying attention to the show. So if we would have made an effort to go over there and watch it, it could have been a whole different experience, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. Up next for us, I don't know what you guys did. We went back over to Boundaries at the Vortex stage.
We did make it back towards the end of Boundaries. We probably saw the last 2 or 3 songs.
Good shit.
Boundaries kills it, man.
You know. And then
you do remember that you saw them with Lorna Shore also, right?
Yeah, they were the first band. I was up on the balcony with you for them. Yep, at Janice. So yeah, the Boundaries is good. We thought I'd misread the schedule. I thought Miss May I was next over there at Inferno, and it was actually at Dies Today. So we were over there. We actually watched a lot of Boundaries from Inferno, thinking it was about to see Miss May I, and it Dies Today. And It Dies Today comes out, and they weren't bad or anything. It's just another metalcore band, though.
That's exactly how I felt about them.
We were bored, and I ended up heading over to the stage right next to it to get ready for Invent Animate. So,
we were already over at that stage, and I felt the same way. And I know that band is probably important to a lot of people. Like, I don't think they play a lot of shows anymore, and they were good, but it just wasn't anything unique.
No, it was just like,
Unlike the next band that we're about to talk about.
Invent Animate. So the first time I ever seen them was with Beartooth last February. And I had no idea who they were going in, and they blew me away. This time going in, I'm a fan of the band. I really like their last album. They're great, and they're so unique. Like, their look on stage, they don't look like they sound at all. Like, they're like this, like, almost prissy 70s rock band looking thing up there.
That's a good way to describe it.
You know what I mean? And
the lead singer has a fucking halter top on.
He does.
It's like a crop top. I don't know what the difference is.
Fishnet too, and he's got like the bell bottom pant type deal going on.
But when it's time to get heavy, they get down.
God.
So
we were down in the pit area for this the whole time. We were in the pit for most of every performance this weekend. So
yeah, you could have found us hanging out on the outskirts of that.
But yeah, Invent Animate, I don't even know what to say, man. They were just
an incredible technical band. This music that Invent Animate is playing, it's intricate.
Very.
It's not simple. For me, I wasn't in the thick of things like you were. So I was impressed at the technicality and the execution and how well they sounded. I did not necessarily want to jump around and mosh or headbang. It just didn't come across that way to me, but I was very impressed.
We were on the wall of that pit, and that's our favorite spot to be, is on the wall right there, feeling that energy. There was an Invent Animate super fan down there that was he was there with, I don't know, his mother or somebody older who had never heard of them, and he's like, no, wait for this part, and then listen to this, and it was just like, he was right, you know what I mean, about everything he was saying, and it was a really good performance.
Well, it's interesting because there was a guy we were standing next to, I assume a married couple or a boyfriend and girlfriend, and you could tell the woman didn't really know the band, but the guy was like, here it comes, and he's like tapping her on the shoulder, and then the part comes on, and he's like headbanging and singing all the parts, and like, all right, well, this might not be my favorite band, but I'm so excited for this guy right here.
They clearly
because he's having the time of his life, and I've been that guy, so I always love to see that, man.
Yep. Next up, Inferno stage, again, right next door. I mean, a lot of the weekend spent at these two stages, and unfortunately, they were the hottest stages.
Yeah, they were.
But Miss May I, we misjudged it earlier, but we came back around and we got Miss May I, and it's one of my highlights of the weekend again.
Damn.
These guys, last year were at Garage Stage, and they did the circle pit around the sound area over there, but it's smaller. They did it here where it's a much bigger area. And, it looks like we're all just jogging around, but it's like this massive sound stage we're running around, and he's yelling, make way for these crazy motherfuckers as we're all running around. And those of you familiar with Central Florida moshing probably know of Gary. Where's Gary at? Not Gary, Indiana, but Gary with the triple mohawk. And he likes to run backwards up these things. Fucking blasted me going around that. I could see him coming and I couldn't get out of the way and just nailed me. There's a video of that one up too.
So we actually went and checked out Newfound Glory.
What?
Amy really wanted to see that band.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about them. I mean, I knew it was a pop punk band. I was impressed as far as
Energy.
the way they sounded, and I think as far as pop punk goes, they're top tier. But pop punk is not my preferred style of music. But I was impressed nonetheless.
Definitely. I did not. What were they on? They were on the Apex?
Yeah, they were on Apex. It's one of the few
Yeah.
times we went over there during the weekend. We didn't spend a lot of time on the main stage at all.
I didn't either. So very, very minimal. Next up for us was Era, who again, we're still over there at Vortex and Inferno. Era's a lot of fun, man. Always.
Jake Lur's number 2.
It's like the third or fourth time I've seen them. Distinct memory of this one was we got up close to the front right of that stage on the edge of the pit, and the guy with the water hose was behind us, just tanking us. The entire time was tanking us, and the people that were in the pit, and there was just a lot of that sliding on the ground and hitting the ground over there. But
we should have went to your side. It was hot as hell on the other side. We were on the left.
We were not hot the rest of the day. He fucking soaked the shit out of us. Somehow my feet didn't really get wet though, which was great. So body drenched, but feet not. Yeah, Era sounds good though.
Yeah, Era's great live band. I think I've seen them. Yeah, probably same about 4 times, probably.
Yeah.
And
then again, I stayed right over there to the next stage over, Vortex.
And then Jake Lurs came back with his main band,
with August Burns Red. Man, listen, August Burns Red are just a super tight band live, and I've never seen them open with this. Have you?
Yeah, we saw it once. It was when they opened for A Day to Remember recently.
Mm-hmm. They opened with Chop Suey from System of a Down, and it's like, I may never see System of a Down, but I just got to see August Burns Red do Chop Suey, and
the crowd ate that shit up, man. It was
so
insane.
Good.
We were all singing.
Yeah,
it was incredible. And yes, August Burns Red. I would challenge you to find a band not named Tool that is tighter than August Burns Red live. It is a flawless execution from start to finish. Mm-hmm. I just don't think I've ever seen a band quite like August Burns Red live. And that's every time. It's consistent. Every time I've seen them. These guys are just, I don't know if they rehearse all the time. I don't know.
They're just
killer. And Jake Lurs is just one of the coolest guys I've ever seen. Their whole motto is angry music for happy people, and it just fits. Yeah. It's exactly what they do. He's the nicest dude you're ever going to see on a stage, but he's going to look like the most intimidating guy that could beat you to death with his bare hands.
Playing this crazy music too. It's really cool. I did not stay for the whole set. We left maybe about halfway in. We wanted to go check out Bush, but by the time we got over there, the crowd was ridiculous at Octane. It was such a big crowd. And we didn't need to see him close, but we also were like, again, just kind of wanting to sit down somewhere and relax. So we had found this spot where hardly anybody was, where you could still hear Octane very, very clearly. You couldn't see the stage, but you could hear it. And we listened to them from back there. They sounded really good. So we stayed over there, and just relaxed for a little bit, and just got ready for Sublime. What were you guys doing in between? Did you stay for August Burns Red? Or
yeah, we stayed. We stayed for August Burns Red. We might have left halfway through the last song or something, but it was just so good. We didn't want to leave.
Yeah, I really wanted to just hear some songs from like 16 Stone, and we heard them from afar.
I would have loved to have heard it. So I would have loved to have heard that. And if they ever do a thing where they play that album in its entirety, I'm going
1,000%. Will not miss it.
Yeah.
But Sublime was next on Octane, and this might be my favorite performance of the weekend. It's up there.
And I never would have expected you to say
it was a very last minute thing going to Sublime. They were before Alice in Chains. I want to say they were more up against Kubla Khan, and I was very unsure on what I was going to do. But then we're like, we got the October Kubla Khan show. Let's go see Sublime. So that's what we decided to do, and I have no regrets. That was one of the coolest crowds of the weekend. And I mean, you close your eyes, you don't know the difference.
No, and I have to say,
it's amazing.
Unfortunately, due to our age, anyone that knows me, and this is not a super original thing to say, but Sublime is one of my favorite bands of all time. Very few bands can compete with Sublime. So going into the weekend, this was the show. This was the one I wanted to see. And I saw Sublime with Rome, and it was incredible. And Rome is an amazing vocalist. He's basically perfect live. And that's what made it not a Sublime show. Because when you go and you see Jacob performing these songs, he performs them the way that his dad would have performed them, which is very much on the spot. However it comes out is how it comes out. And he sounds great. He's got the soul. He's got the emotion. He's got all of it. It's not going to sound exactly the way it sounds on the album, but you're going to get a unique experience. And that kid is one of the most charismatic people I've ever seen step foot on a stage. He just seems like a dude that you want to hang out with.
He gets it, man.
You want to go skateboard. You want to have a good time. Man, I'm surprised that I did not cry watching this performance because it just meant so much to me. It was incredible. It was just, and they played some songs that they would have never played with Rome, because with Rome, they kind of stuck with the hits.
Yeah.
They played shit off Robin the Hood, which is their least popular album ever. They played fucking STP, and I got so excited. It was just cool, man. Like, they played deeper cuts. They played Johnny Butt. Like, they played stuff that you're not going to expect. It was just incredible, man. It was a punk rock show. It was a good time.
For almost an hour, it was just like, in the middle of this day where it's like all heavy all day for us, we had Sublime, and it was very Sublime.
Yeah, it was everything I ever wanted from a Sublime show. And again, that's not to take anything away from Rome, because that guy's incredible.
The sun was setting at this time too, added to the mood. It was really cool.
Jacob kept making the jokes, that they're this small band from Long Beach, and to please buy their CDs and their shirts. And it was great, man. They had the big inflatable Lou dogs on the stage. Man, it was fun. I could have spent 2-3 hours listening to them play.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Kubla Khan was playing at this time, and it still was like there was no thought of ever leaving early. We stayed for the entire set, and then it wasn't even rushed to Kublai Khan at first. It was kind of like, man, that was
still
awesome.
In awe of what you just saw.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, we can still catch like 15 minutes of this. Let's head over there. So that's what we did, and that was nuts. Kubla Khan had a crowd all the way back to the merch tent, like the entire length. And when we get there and we're like, oh, fuck, how are we going to do this, So we just did what we do. We're going to the pit. And we just kept going through the crowd. Everybody's letting us go through. We find a pit. And we're like, wait, there's one closer. Pit.
We're on to the other pits.
We got to the next one, and we did the same thing. And then I want to say we did it again before we got almost all the way up by the stage. And we got up there right as fucking Absolute Power is starting. And I'm just like, oh my God, here we go. And we got to hear Supreme Ruler up there. And I want to say, I don't remember the other song. We heard at least 3, maybe 4 songs up there. But it was...
It's awesome that you still made it over there.
Cool. I can't wait to see this headline show of theirs at Janice. I hope Janice is fucking ready for it, because that crowd was wild and hyped up. So pits everywhere.
And I'm sure if the circumstances were different, I would have headed straight over there as well. But it just so happens that Alice in Chains got replaced with one of my favorite bands of all time, who I have also talked about on this show before, Social Distortion. So doesn't mean a lot to most of my friends. I'm the only person, Amy and myself.
It went over like a wet fart when it was announced with all of us, but we knew you were excited, so that was cool.
Absolutely. And the crowd was not big for a headliner.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Well,
they weren't a headliner. They were.
I never thought they really belonged in that spot. Like, I actually think they should have switched them and Sublime and had Sublime over on the main stage.
Well, I'm glad they didn't.
I'm glad for you that they didn't, but it was an amazing show. This was my 4th time seeing Social Distortion. I've been listening to Social Distortion since I was 14 years old. They're an incredibly important band to me, and Mike Ness is a goddamn icon. And I challenge anybody to find someone that looks cooler on the fucking stage than Mike Ness. That man he just eats, sleeps, and breathes cool. He doesn't even have to try. He just walks out and he looks cooler than everybody else at the festival. I love Social Distortion. I had such a great time over there. Super cool seeing Mike Ness back out on the stage after dealing with throat cancer. And it was just an incredible experience. and made it back to see the last 3 songs of Killswitch Engage. So
Killswitch was over at Inferno, so right after Kubla Khan, I went over to Killswitch. That's cool though. You got Sublime and Social Distortion back to back like that.
they're very important. Both of those bands are on the wall behind me. You can't see them in this video, but I have a lot of the albums that are most important to me on my wall. Sublime and Social D are both part of that. So very cool to see them both in the same weekend.
There's a few others up there you didn't expect to ever see again that we got to see in later days on Rockville.
Right?
It's really cool.
It is crazy, dude. This was a nostalgic weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to those bands in a minute. But yeah, Killswitch, I was over there the whole time on the edge of the pit. Fun stuff. I don't know, man. What do you...
We came up while they were playing, so they were playing Into Heartache, and then we saw Last Serenade, and then they closed with Holy Diver.
I don't know what Holy Diver is. Oh, when they played This Fire Burns, that was really cool. Crowd started chanting CM Punk afterwards for the wrestling fans out there, yeah.
That was all them juggalos out there.
Probably, more than likely. Yeah, getting ready for, what is that, Sunday. The juggalos were all definitely out. But yeah, Killswitch is always amazing live. Looking forward to seeing them next month again. So after Killswitch, though, was my main event of the night, which a year ago I never would have said. But it was right next door at Vortex.
It's crazy because I feel like you and I were in the opposite places of where we would have expected to be a year ago.
Yeah.
Because you were in the thick of things and I was hanging out at the very back, just watching.
Yeah. So Knocked Loose is next. And this was everything that you expected it to be. I don't know if it's the biggest crowd I've seen them with because I did see them at Knotfest Iowa last year, which was a massive crowd. But this was just...
But they had both sides, the Vortex and Inferno stage. They were filled up from front to back. And we were... number one, we were fucking wiped out. Like, we were hanging out back by the merch area. Like,
so when they first announced this over here, and then we seen the way that was lined up, I was like, I want a pit. I want the wall from the stage to the merch tent. And I guess Brian Garris wanted it too, because that's what he demanded. And when he said it, I was like, here we fucking go. Because I was going to try to make it happen anyways. Me and a couple other people that we have down there that are always in the pits. We wanted to make it happen. And one guy's name's Richard. He was actually right next to me in Orlando last year for the Wall of Death. And we both got tripped up and hit the ground. So it's like, we can't do that this time. But him and I helped start to spread that thing even further. And we got it from the stage to the merch tent all the way back. The biggest Wall of Death I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I sat at the back of that Wall of Death and I ran through the whole thing. It took there's a video of it. You can go watch it. It's mostly dark because the stage light is so bright at me, but you keep hearing the thuds as people are hitting me and I'm getting closer and closer. And from the moment that wall starts until the very end of the song is how long it took me to get to the stage to get a close up. Yeah, it was amazing, man.
Insane.
And as of the recording of this, like, we have not seen an aerial shot of this from Rockville. They seem to have completely fucking missed it with all their drones that they had out there. Like,
they had to know it was coming.
Did you miss this? That's like promotional material for years. It was a massive, massive Wall of Death.
Yeah.
This band's rise is unreal. It's just...
Yeah.
But I will also say, I won't go into too much detail, but they do bring out some of the biggest assholes you will ever meet. And that ruined the rest of the night for us. So.
As we've always talked about with Kublai Khan and Knock Loose, that's the unfortunate side effect of that. Because people are there, like you said, for the, just the aggression and the...
Well, if that guy really wanted violence, he should have came back later in the week and he would have got it. So,
yeah.
But anyways, Green Day was next. I didn't watch them because of what happened after Knock Loose. So we listened to them. We went to the car while everybody else was watching Green Day and just listened from the parking lot and whatever.
We just stayed and like kind of at the back and checked out 2 or 3 songs. Not a big Green Day fan. Like, if they were doing an album playthrough, like if they did Dookie or they did Kerplunk or something, like I'd probably watch that because I'd be all about it. But their discography's so hit or miss for me. I didn't necessarily want to sift through all the crap to hear the stuff I wanted to hear. So, but I'll say they sounded great. They had a huge crowd.
Yeah, I will agree with both those statements from what I've seen too. So.
Their crowd was as big or bigger than Limp Bizkit last year. People running all over the place wearing Dookie shirts, which is just funny. Anybody walking around with a shirt that says Dookie on it's going to make me chuckle like a little kid. But yeah, I mean, we were wiped out, man. We were already obviously wiped out before Knocked Loose because we were in the back, like just chilling, like we weren't up there we didn't want no part of all that shit, man. We were so fucking tired. We were hanging on by a thread by the time Green Day started. And so we watched a few songs and then we were ready to hit the pool again.
I mean, it was one of the main moments I was waiting for the weekend was that Wall of Death. So I got it. And it's definitely one of the top moments of the weekend for me. Not the top.
Yeah,
it's up there.
Hell yeah.
But I can't say they're my favorite performance. Sublime was my favorite performance of the day. So
I love that. I love that because, I mean, number one, you and I've hardly ever even talked about Sublime. So it's not a band that you're like, yeah, man, like I told all you guys to listen to the tribute album. You're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I still haven't, but but I love that performance. So I didn't really have a big surprise at all. Other than
on Friday, no.
Other than the fact that the wall actually happened, so I will say this: there was a lot of Wall of Deaths throughout the weekend.
It's becoming a thing.
It is, but Brian does something that the only other person that does it is Alex Terrible. And that's that he demands that wall opens all the way up, and they will not start playing.
I'm going to play
until you get to where he wants you to be. Whereas a lot of other bands just kind of naturally let it happen, and wherever And so you get these little wimpy small Wall of Deaths, and these guys are like, "Fuck that, open it up, open it the fuck up, let's go." So
those guys are your modern Phil Anselmos.
Yeah,
where
for sure.
Like, no, you're here to see me. You're going to do what I say. This is how the show's going to go. Yeah. And not even in a bad way. Like people loved Phil Anselmo. They respected him so much that they didn't. All right, Phil says jump. Let's go.
It's the danger.
Yeah.
Both those bands have a danger aspect, and so did Pantera. So
yeah,
Friday was great. Loved Friday.
Absolutely.
Knew I would coming in, and it fully delivered.